Hey everyone, if you can actually believe it, we've reached 800 subscribers, and I wanted to send a very big thank you from all of my family to everyone that's watched our videos over the last 2 years. Obviously, with us getting to 800 subscribers, I wanted to think about a unique way of celebrating that. I thought, why not go over the 8 videos primarily that I found the most memorable over the nearly 100 videos we've created over the last 2 years. So without further ado, let's get into the top 8. So over the last 2 years, I've been very lucky to be able to take a lot of adventures with my family, either together or separately. And I must admit, when I started this journey, I didn't expect us to get to 800 subscribers. I actually started this journey off just wanting to make videos to remember the adventures we'd taken, and that adventure actually started at Everest Base Camp with my son. But what I decided to do today to celebrate our 800 is go down 8 videos or 8 adventures we've taken that I primarily find the most memorable, most unique, or the most fun, but not in any particular order. Now, the very first one I'd like to mention, of course, is crabbing in Mandurah. Just recently, we went down south to Mandurah, which is around about 45 minutes to an hour out of Perth. We went crabbing with Uncle Dean and Auntie Gemma with their kids and my kids. We actually went out on the estuary there, and Brianna, my daughter, who's 19, as well as my son, Sammy, who was 4, got to actually crab for the first time. I'd never been crabbing, let alone them. It was one of those things where just getting out on the water, getting outdoors and doing something for the first time was just hugely memorable for myself. My daughter will never forget it, primarily because a little crab actually attempted to attack her little feet.
I can't see.
Brianna! My son will always remember because he got to see crabs, a blowfish. He got to paddle with his cousin Kai. Be able to see Uncle Dean being the crabbing king. And it was just one of those days that I won't forget, not only because of what we did and who we did it with, it's also where we did it, in a beautiful location in Mandurah. Video number 2 is definitely going to the active volcano with my son Caleb and my daughter Brianna. We were recently in Bali a couple of months back, and we decided to do an adventure we hadn't done before. So we travelled from our hotel around about 2 hours in a car and went to one of the active volcanoes there. We actually, for the first time, saw steam vents. For the first time, we saw old lava flows. We were able to see the sunrise from a location on top of a volcano which we'd never been to before. And in hindsight, it's probably a little bit more dangerous than I had thought about, but it was one of those things, once again, I'm so glad we just dived in and did. It certainly wasn't easy getting up the hill, and it certainly wasn't easy getting down, but it was certainly worth the adventure. And the third video would definitely be the Great Wall of China with my son Caleb. Last year we took an adventure with some friends of mine from the Entrepreneurs Organisation to visit different sites in China, and the Great Wall of China for me was one of the culmination of all those events. There were many different locations we visited, from the Terracotta Warriors and all different other parts of China, but the Great Wall was something which was immersive for me because Caleb and I were able to sit at the top of one of the oldest structures in the world and take a photo and make a memory together. And I can truly say I will never forget that adventure. And the fourth video is definitely the Beast, which was one of the longest zip lines that we did on one of our tours that we were doing on one of the cruise lines. We went up there and we'd never actually seen any examples of it. We knew they said it was the longest, but we didn't really know what that meant until we got there. We were all extremely terrified, but doing the zip lining, taking the 360 camera and making that experience and going up into the forest that were there was just an outstanding adventure. The views were great, the actual adventure was great, and the adrenaline just were able to add to it. The only thing I would recommend, if you don't like heights, I wouldn't do it. The fifth video is definitely my adventure I took with my son on the Cape to Cape mountain biking ride. We'd never mountain biked before training for this ride, which was a ride over 4 days. It was around, I think it was about 220 kilometres of mountain biking track. It was done over in down south in the Margaret River region here in Perth. We decided 6 months before that we wanted to do some type of adventure like that together. We grabbed our bikes, we started training, and we did it. And I have to say, it was one of the hardest things that I've ever done. But the best thing about it is because I spent time with my son, I was able to watch him tackle something which seemed impossible at the beginning. And he actually helped me along the way. We helped each other, we carried ourselves through, and we crossed the finish line together. Really muddy, really tired, but really grateful for being there. And it definitely makes one of my top 8. And the 6th video would definitely be dog sledding in Whistler. We were up there actually having a holiday in Canada for the first time I'd ever been to Canada, and we needed to find an activity that the whole family could do together. But of course, obviously, Sammy being little, 3 at the time, and 2 older teenagers, we needed to find something that we could all do, and dog sledding was a perfect fit. We were able to combine the things that we love, which would be the outdoors, playing in the snow, beautiful dogs, and also their puppies, and once again, something we'd never done before. We made some memories there of having a snowball fight at the end of the trip just near the teepees, some beautiful photos. We met some beautiful dogs who were actually dogs who were rescued from other locations, and Sammy absolutely adores dogs, so he was giggling and having fun the whole time. So if you ever get to Whistler, I would highly recommend the dog sledding adventure. The 7th video would definitely be the video we just shot recently, which was Snorkeling in the Maldives. Our whole family came together and went to the Club Med, a location actually in the Maldives, and we were able to spend 4 and 5 days experiencing everything that Club Med and Maldives has to offer, which culminated in multiple snorkeling locations. Being able to snorkel with the fish and show and have my kids, both young and old, swim with the fish either on the shore or on the reef was something which I know none of them will forget, let alone myself. Being able to swim with turtles, being able to sting with stingrays, being able to see just absolutely beautiful water full of dolphins, and just being able to spend that time together in the ocean, which I love, certainly made it memorable and certainly made the list to the top 8. And the last video of my top 8 definitely has to be a Base Camp Everest trek. A couple of years back when my son was 13, we took the adventure to Base Camp Everest because we wanted to try and do something that people thought were impossible, because he was facing some challenges with some knee injuries and some challenges at school. And we decided to go, but just to be clear, when we decided to go in October, we didn't really know where Base Camp was. We didn't know what Nepal was. We'd never trekked before, and we certainly didn't know what it involved. But we knew people would think it was impossible. So we decided to go ahead and do it. It was one of those adventures that was a spur of the moment that became one of those most memorable events I will never forget with my son. We made it up there. It was an extremely difficult trek for us to make, even after 9 months of training, but we made it together. We ate our chocolate bars at base camp, and I was able to have photos and videos with him that, once again, I will never forget. I can truly say, if I had not gone there with my 13-year-old son, I would not have made it. He helped drag me part of the way to get there because it was very difficult. Now, they're definitely my top 8 videos that I've liked. How about you comment below the videos that you like, so I know which ones you'd like us to make more of. I've certainly got a lot more videos I've got to edit up yet, because I'm trying to get us to 1,000 subscribers eventually, so we can break those quadruple digits. But I did want to say thank you again to everyone for your support. Thank you to all our subscribers. And as always, if you've got any questions whatsoever, please leave it in the comment section. If you haven't subscribed already, you know what to do. Just hit that subscribe button now. And as always, I'll see you in the next adventure.